Elizabeth Cookye Show presents the mini-series on the GPD WIN. This would mark the first mini-series that I've decided to do a product review on a console gaming handheld. So as some of you know, or possibly a few of you know, I've been following Chinese gaming tablets for quite some time. I started out with a JXD 7800B, went on to the GPD Q9, had multiple versions of that, sold a few of them as a distributor, and then moved on to the new device that we have right here. So before I go back to the introduction, I'm just going to introduce the device that we're talking about for today, which is the GPD WIN. This device is the world's first portable gaming console handheld that runs off of a Windows operating system and Intel Cherry Trail processor. I'm understanding that this processor is for Microsoft gaming tablets, and this processor here is what they used for this device. Now what makes this so unique is that it has integrated gaming controls that you see right here, the D-pad, 2 analog sticks, and of course your 4-button layout right here, and then your L1, L2, R1, R2 in the back. Comes with a USB 3.0 slot, a micro SD card slot, a mini USB slot right here, and of course micro USB, which is the charging port, along with a headphone jack. This is a fully functioning PC, pocket size, with a 5.5-inch screen for which you can run virtually almost anything on it. Now, there are some limitations to the device that I understand, and that the graphics memory is 128 megabytes. That kind of brings me back to when laptops were first able to write DVDs back in the early 2000s, and all the emulators that I was running back then I was even able to run on this device, which is what this mini-series will go into. I am not the first to write a review or even talk about this device. There are many people out there, but I will be focusing this mini-series on otaku gaming and video gaming from the otaku perspective. So I play a lot of fighting games on the go and also on my laptop for emulation and in the arcades back in the day, and of course now I'm playing online through Xbox One and PS4. And the idea that I'm using this device is to translate all of the old emulation and all the old PC games onto this device and see how well it can hold up. So far I've had such a great time with it. I'm just starting, so as I film each episode I will cover each emulator that I'm using, the best settings, the best versions of those emulators, and how you can best utilize this device for experiencing the best gaming experience possible. Okay, so going back to my introduction, I've been supporting Chinese handheld gaming devices for quite some time. You know, GPD is not new to the market for creating handhelds, and in fact that is their mainstay. They've been creating Android gaming platform portable handhelds, and this is one of them right here. This is the GPD Q9, which runs off of Android, and of course, as you see right here, has integrated gaming controls. They decided to go with the Sega Genesis Saturn D-pad, which I felt was the greatest innovation for a gaming tab to date. Coming from having a JXD 7800B, it looked almost just like this with the 2 analog sticks, but the D-pad is really important, and especially if you're like me and you play a lot of fighting games, you're going to really want to have the best D-pad possible, because this D-pad will define how smooth your specials, your super moves will come out, your Hadouken motions back, down, forward, your Shoryuken motions forward, down, diagonal, forward, and then followed up with the punch or the kick. And so far, I've loved this device as a tablet. I had initially wanted to sell it, but now I realize I actually want to keep it, and it's doing great for this review to see where I've come from. One thing that a lot of these handheld devices have in common is that they're all running on the Android operating system, and the GPD WIN right here is running off of Windows 10, but now I'm learning that now you can actually put other operating systems on it through VMware, and a lot of time and patience to put Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and of course 10. Mine is running the anniversary edition of 10 right now because I wanted to keep it updated. I will do a video in the future on how I got it to run XP or possibly even Windows 98 through the VMware. I think so far, having a day or two with this item, I want to say that I've had an excellent time having the power to customize the emulators that I would on my regular laptop on this, which is one of the drawbacks to an Android device. Android is an excellent operating system. This Q9 from GPD Gamepad Digital is excellent. I just think that with the emulators that run on Android, I'm not able to customize what kind of ROMs that I wanted to play to the degree that I would on the Windows platform. Another drawback is that there are CHD files that run in an emulator known as MAME, and that Android gaming devices still, I have found, have not been able to render CHD files to its greatest capacity. But then again, this is running off of a rock chip, and we're talking about two separate technologies, two separate entities here, and operating systems no less. And then of course, emulation has had a very long history. Emulation goes as far back as Windows 95, and I remember running even Mugen on Windows 95, and running MAME and Final Burn back then in the day, and how they spent years and years perfecting that as they went through the different generations of operating systems on Windows, from Windows 95 to 95 Plus, 98, 98 Second Edition, Millennium Edition, 2000 Professional, NT, XP, Vista, 7, 8, 8.1, and then now here we are on 10. And so because of this, emulators that have had that long stretch of history from that far back, including Linux, I think the programming has really polished up over the generation. And so because of that, I feel I have the best experience that I could have ever dreamed of. I always thought it would be a great idea to have a handheld device such as the GPD WIN with integrated controls and an operating system that would allow you to run all the same things, or nearly as many of the same things that you would on a regular laptop on this device. And let me tell you, the Android operating system of the Q9 and of the JXD 7800B, they come very damn close. They run smooth, it's great. But now I'm able to run more now that I'm running on a operating system that supports it with an actual graphics card, no less, and everything has its place. Now, if there's one thing that I could add or subtract with the GPD WIN, I would rather like to add this D-pad. See, that, like I said, for fighting game enthusiasts like me, your D-pad is just so important. This D-pad has never given me any issues, you know, and this is the Android operating system here. I mean, playing Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 2, the retro Mortal Kombat series, the King of Fighters series, and certain anime games that are on Android, this D-pad has worked so well for me. Now, fast forward to the GPD WIN, I've gotten everything I could ever imagine in a portable handheld. I think I would have loved to have that Saturn or Sega Genesis D-pad here instead of, this looks very reminiscent to the black and white Game Boy's D-pad, where you really had to press in all the directions with some conviction to get those movements out. Not saying that it's bad, I'm used to it, I can work with it, but if I could add any alterations to this device, it would be adding that Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn D-pad onto this, and then I really would have been like that. So I'm really enjoying this device. I want to take a moment now to thank a friend who actually sold me this device through Amazon, because it's been quite a battle getting my hands on this. This was once started with an Indiegogo campaign. Gamepad Digital had reached out to the public to have this created, and they made over $500,000. And at the time that it was taking pre-orders, I pre-ordered this device through Geek Buying only to discover that my money was returned back to me. Didn't know why, and I guess maybe they just ran out of devices and I would have to just wait until launch. Fast forward to launch, and I went and I bought one through Dino Direct, and then my order got backstock, so then I asked for a refund. So then I tried to reorder it a third time, and this time it was through AliExpress, and they did have it on hand, but then they sent it to the wrong address to somewhere in LA, and whoever this was in LA retrieved my package and took it, so now AliExpress owes me a refund. So then I bought it a fourth time through Geek Buying, and then a fifth time through, I want to mention his name right now. I don't want to mess up your name, so I had to write it down on a post-it note. Andreon Cap Smith. I want to thank you very much for selling this to me. I will make very good use of this device, and I will be sure to push it to its max, as I will go and do in-depth reviews of the otaku gaming and of course the emulation and the fighting gaming community through this device. Thank you very much, Mr. Smith, who was nice enough to inbox me on the GPD forums on Facebook and had made an Amazon sale page, and then I was able to get it through him. Thank you very much. It came sooner than expected. It was supposed to come within, I guess, 5 to 6 days, and I got it within 2. So I guess that Amazon Prime did work for me in this case. So getting back to the device, it's made very well. It's made very well, I'd like to say. It does still have a fan at the bottom. This is the 8700, not the 8750 that was long talked about. Had a stronger processor but had overheating issues. There's a fan right here on the back that you can see. You can control the settings, and so far I haven't had any overheating issues. The screen, can move in multiple directions in terms of if you're holding it down or to the side, whichever angle you're holding it, the screen will then turn to that direction. But for all intended purposes, for myself, I put it on screen lock so that I can keep it in the panoramic position. I don't really use analog sticks, but I will use them in the future for the next couple of reviews that I will regarding this device. When I went all out for this, I really did go all out. So accessories that I'd like to talk about, which I feel is very important, that you're gonna need, because if you're looking to install the anniversary edition of Windows 10, I don't want to do a rehash video of that because somebody already did that on YouTube. His name is Fox. I think that's what his name is. It's spelled P-H-A-N-X. Fox. I guess the P is silent, or thanks. I'm sorry if I'm getting your name wrong. This is sort of a tribute and respect for you, who you was one of the first people to get the device and then show people how to install Anniversary Edition and get the max amount of space, the hard drive within this portable console. So this is what I suggest. Everyone has their own ideas. The box says it only supports up to 128 gigabytes of a micro SD card, but technically you can go up to 256 through Samsung's Pro Edition card. So there is a 512 micro SD card out there. I haven't tested it yet, but I'm quite confident, since the 256 is readable and it works just fine, that anyone out there who gets their hands on the 512 micro SD card will have the same experience, will be able to work on this. And that's just my assumption. I haven't tried it yet. If that is the case, I just noticed that someone recently put up a video on Facebook about how to mount the SD card as storage to the device. And if that's the case, then it'd all be nice to have either a 256 or a 512 micro SD card mounted and tethered as actual space within the device itself. Now, I decided to go with this right here. I bought 2 of these, which is the 128 gigabyte Pro Plus. There are a couple of these Pro Plus editions by Samsung. There's a yellow one, there's an orange one, and this is the black one. Now, I guess after doing research, I came to the conclusion, and going to multiple shops like Best Buy, Fry's, Essential Computers out here. I'm here on the West Coast, so that's what I'm referring to. That the black one is 4K ready, and because this is 4K ready, it's magnet proof, it's X-ray proof, it's waterproof, shit, it's even temperature proof, that the max amount of read is 95 megabytes a second, and also the write speed is 90 megabytes a second. So far I've had much luck with this. This has been a joy to use this, as I use multiple SD cards, as I'm using one SD card for the arcade emulation, another SD card for console emulation, and then another SD card for portable emulation such as black and white Game Boy, Game Gear, Neo Geo Pocket Color, Atari Lynx, etc., etc. And then of course I have another card, but it's not Samsung at all, and I'm using that for the Dojin fighting games and Dojin anime, hentai, yaoi, PC games and stuff like that. I've had a joy having this, so you may want to look this up. This is the 128 gigabyte version of the black. From what I understand, the 256 doesn't come in black, it only comes in the Red Pro edition. Someone had already posted up information on that on the GPD WIN forum site on Facebook, so I say check that out. And if you're going to get really involved, you're going to need these items here. So this is a nice inexpensive USB mouse. I spent about $9 with this from Best Buy. They also have this at Fry's for about $12. It's retractable. Let's see here, I'm trying to actually put it back. Okay, there we go. Yeah, USB mouse here. I also ended up getting a USB dongle. This USB dongle here has the Ethernet connection so that I can, of course, hook to an actual hardwired Ethernet into the wall if I'm actually going to be doing some serious downloading and I'm out and about somewhere that actually supports Ethernet. And then, what would all these devices be if I didn't have, a multi-tap dongle? So this is I love this device right here. This is a multi-tap USB dongle, and then it splits off into 3 extra USBs, so I can put the mouse here, I can put the Ethernet there, and then if I have another keyboard, I can put a keyboard here. And this is even smart. They even have a little mini USB right here, right there. I'm not sure which mini USB is this, because there are 2 types. There's the ones for cell phones, and then there's the one for the PlayStation 3 controller. And this is the one that's identical to the PlayStation 3 controller. And so they have that here on this dongle. This was the original charger port from which the GPD WIN came with. I just wanted to show this off. Of course, nowadays the popular thing is to have these USB chargers because I guess they're inexpensive to manufacture. And then of course you're going to want to have this mouse pad. I did buy a bag, a separate bag. It's a nice gray bag to put all these items in when I'm on the go. And also, I must not forget, at the time that I had ordered the GPD WIN from Dino Direct, I had ordered all these other parts from different other distributors because I was hoping everything came at the same time, but it didn't. This is the official GPD WIN carry case. It's not really necessary, but I got it anyway because I like to have all the devices match. So this is the carry case when you open it up. It doesn't come with this cloth. I had this cloth already. I kind of just added it to the mix. But it did come with this little strap on the inside that you have to hook off to the side. Fits nice and neatly. Fits all your SD cards on the inside as well. And as far as battery life goes, I've had a wonderful time experiencing that. I've gotten the max about 12 hours or more of battery life on this device. But mind you, it just depends what you're doing. If you're doing graphic heavy gaming, then I guarantee you you're not going to get 12 hours of battery life. You may get around 4 or 5 hours, maybe less depending. And then this device charges best when it's turned off. When it's completely turned off and you charge it, it charges best that way. If you have it on and you're playing and it's charging in the wall, it doesn't really do good that way. I think one of the greatest innovations of this device is that it has the USB 3.0, which allows me to use this, which I'm very happy I got my hands on this. This is a Kingston 512 gigabyte USB stick. And so I've had fun using this and transferring data and information. And when doing that, this dongle has proven to be more than sufficient in allowing me to hook up multiple USB sticks and devices and then transfer information through different other transferring means at the edge of these adapters. So if you're going to be involved in this device like I am, you're going to want to get a mouse, a USB Ethernet dongle, a multi-tap dongle. If you could get one like this that's self-sufficient and doesn't have to be plugged into the wall, like thumbs up, that's great. I think I got lucky when I found this one because usually ones that light up, they usually have to be plugged into the wall and have to receive some type of juice for it to receive the information and register and go through all of that. But since this one is like all-in-one, it doesn't require any of that. See if you can pick up one of these babies because you're going to need this if you're going to be really involved. And then if you're like me and want all the accessories, then of course you're going to want to get your hands on the GPD WIN. The GPD WIN actual carry case. Geek Buying is selling this for like $9, which I guess by the time you spent the money, between $330 and $350 for the actual gaming console, I guess the $9 bag isn't so bad. And then of course the mouse pad, which I just kind of spent 99 cents on. You know, really nice material here. I want to thank you for joining me in this video. This is my episode 1 introduction video to talking about the GPD WIN and spreading the love and knowledge of this device. I can only hope that in the future that GPD, the company of GPD in Hong Kong and Shenzhen, get enough funding so that they may be able to improve upon this device and maybe make an upgrade in the foreseeable future. I'm quite sure next year GPD, JXD, Sane Max, and other Chinese gaming console gaming companies will make their way over to CES, which is in Las Vegas. While I am there, I'll be looking forward to seeing the GPD company and hopefully get an interview with their people and talk about what are their plans for the future. Right now, they're looking to sell as many of these devices. They've been back ordered. They've been selling like hotcakes, and it's been hard for people to get their hands on it. Case in point, my dilemma and the amount of drama that I've gone through to actually even get the device. Let alone, I still have one more device that's been confirmed that's coming through. So I have one coming through Geek Buying that's like fresh in the package, and then I have this one. So I'm quite sure that when that one comes in the mail, I will be most likely giving this one away, doing an auction, or even selling it or something of that sort, so that one lucky person who's into portable gaming and emulation will be able to, you know, enjoy this as well. Before I close out, I just wanted to reiterate something that GPD was really trying to manifest, and I think it gets confused quite often with other people's reviews. GPD is a portable, handheld gaming company that specializes in creating open source handhelds. Primarily they were Android gaming handhelds, but now they just moved over to Windows with this first device. Their idea and their vision was to deliver on a promise that you can play as many emulated devices in perfect format on this device and other devices that they've created, because the regular console markets such as the Sony PS Vita, the Nintendo DS, they're not created to be open. They're created to be specific to and proprietary to the software that that company has created. So GPD and JXD and Sane Max and a couple of other ones are creating this world that if you want this kind of entertainment, that you can buy this device that is solely for that. This device also allows you to play Steam. Not any heavy Steam games, because the graphics card in this is not as strong yet, because you know this is the first device, so who knows what we'll see in the future. 128 megabytes of graphic memory is back in the day it was the shit, but now, come on, we have like 8 gig graphic cards now and above. And so GPD, they do live out on that promise. They do keep their promise on that. It does deliver on that promise, that I've been able to play all of my portable, console, and arcade gaming experiences of emulation on this device. It does deliver on that. If you're looking to play something extremely graphics heavy, you're looking in the wrong spot. Though I think the closest that this really gets to pumping out the highest the highest ability that it can is the Dolphin emulator, and that too even depends on what you're using. You know, what game are you playing? Because I play a lot of fighting games that are 2D. Doesn't require a lot of graphics memory to render that, so they run smooth and perfect. You know, unlike certain 3D fighting games require a little bit more. And even then, because it's a fighting game, it doesn't really require a lot of memory. It all really depends on what formats or mediums that you're using and the read speed, because you're gonna need removable media. 64 gigabytes, man. 64 gigabytes of internal memory is not enough, which is something else I want to mention too. Just not enough. I guess they was looking for manufacturing costs, how many of these devices they could create, still give you quality, still give you a good experience, but be able to sell it to you at the lowest price. You know, $330 to $350 is not a lot of money for this device right here, considering that there are other handheld gaming devices that are twice that much, and this really gives you a lot of bang for your buck. I guess in other reviews people talked about the shoulder buttons were a little bit weak. I guess each to its own. The shoulder buttons, the LR, the L1, L2, R1, R2 seem pretty fine to me. They are, I guess, tad bit loose, but you know, they're not to the point where it's like, whoa, it's just gonna fall apart loose, but rather comfortability loose. But then again, that's my opinion. So yeah, more space. That's really what it's about. More space, a stronger graphics card, and then of course, for me personally, having that Sega Saturn, Sega Genesis D-pad control right there to really hit those diagonals. Those diagonals in fighting games can make or break a match. So, thank you for joining me on my first episode, this review of the GPD WIN, the first mini computer to be running on a Windows 10 operating system, and the first to allow us to be able to play multiple kinds of emulation on this device.